Saturday Prime Time is presented by DirecTV. We welcome you to the American Conference on ESPN. Game day at SMU this morning, and now time of the nightcap here at Moody Coliseum. They're expecting to set an attendance record tonight. So it'll be a raucous crowd. It's a very big game for both of these schools. Now, UConn has been led to the national titles by outstanding guards. Kemba Walker finished with a championship in 2011. Shabazz Napier did it last year. This UConn team takes its cues from another great guard in Ryan Boatwright. He's leading the conference in scoring.
He has such a dynamic force. He is impossible to keep in front off the dribble drive. He balances that with outstanding perimeter shooter. Yes, he's creative around the rim, but all of his game is balanced by being able to shoot the long one, get to the mid-range, or attack the basket.
UConn lineup: Amita Brima, a 7-foot shot blocker. Hamilton, the freshman, has had a nice first year so far. The Huskies have gone smaller and quicker the last few games. And for SMU, Nick Moore is a standout point guard. He can shoot from downtown too. Morera is 6'11", and off the bench 6'9" Marcus Kennedy, the big junior from Philadelphia. We are set for the opening tip. SMU is wearing black socks. That is to honor, as they mourn, of course, their coach Larry Brown mourns the loss of the great Dean Smith. SMU in the red. They come in at 20-5, 11-2 in the conference. UConn 14-9. They do not have much wiggle room if they're going to go back to the NCAA tournament this year.
Not much. I would say it's zero wiggle room.
They've left themselves no room for error with losses to Yale and Houston in particular, and they win the opening tip, and we are underway.
So by going with this smaller lineup right away, you can put one more ball handler on the floor. Daniel Hamilton has been good when he catches, faces, and tries to do some things.
So here he is pulling up, does not shoot the jumper. Samuel back for Boatwright, deep in the corner, shot clock down to 13. Hamilton, a youngster from Los Angeles. Here's Purvis, shot clock at 6. Tight defense right away by the Mustangs. The drive, the floater, off target. Picked off right here on the side by Moore. And in transition, the Mustangs want to run. His floater won't roll in, and it's Brima for the rebound. He's hauling in about 5 per game. Hamilton on the attack. Oh, beautifully done, Brima with the stuff.
There's incredible connection between Brima and Hamilton. In fact, when I was watching SMU practice, their staff said the 4-5 pick and roll, it's going to be a travel. Oh, we get him with a foul.
They did. They got Hamilton at midcourt for the foul.
Wow. But you've got an interior guy in Amita Brima, who is not a great back-to-the-basket low-post scorer. He is this, however. Off the drive, he's a great scorer off the dump-off play.
You've heard this before. UConn has a premier shot blocker.
Yes.
And that's Amita Brima for sure. He's blocked 73 of the 112 block shots that they have as a team. Swung here for Morera. He's 6'11", a senior from Angola. And now Moore averages 15 points, 5 assists. A great passer. Stripped away by Boatwright, and he got it on the baseline. So he did it all there. The great defense. Now the spin. And knocked out a play by Moore. And Larry Brown, in his 3rd year at the helm at SMU. It's been a challenging season for the coaching legend. He's had 2 players turn pro. One of his best players was ruled ineligible. An assistant coach took a leave of absence when the season was underway, and his best overall player missed the first 10 games because of academic issues as Hamilton misfires.
Look, there's a coach in the country who is prepared for crisis management.
Oh, to the top, the stuff by Morera. And what a great give. And you can see where Moore is such a good passer and is always looking forward, forward, forward.
Yeah, and Morera is a terrific rim runner. He's got the frame, the speed, the length to just run that lane line.
Boatwright swings here for Samuel. It's going to be an offensive foul. A charge. He can't believe it. Terrence Samuel, a sophomore from the Bronx, with the foul.
Yeah. Nick Moore gets this team out in transition, and you've got two interior guys in Brima and Moreira who are outstanding runners. But look, Brima gets beat up the floor. It makes an easy opportunity for SMU.
SMU 23-7 last year. That was not good enough to get them into the NCAA tournament, largely because their strength of schedule ranked 129th.
Well, correct. And then they lose back-to-back games to end the regular season and then bow out to Houston in the first round. They sealed the deal.
Foul on the baseline as Ben Moore, not related to Nick Moore, gets hit. With 17:39 to go, Brima going for the block there. In the first half here in Dallas, SMU beat UConn twice last year.
Yeah, they handled him. Nick Moore played terrific. And just to go back to a point I was making before action sort of picked up about Larry Brown's ability to handle crisis. I mean, he has done a magnificent job. And you listen to the interview he did with Reese Davis, and he said, I don't think the NCAA investigation has affected nor will affect my guys. However, it's not been easy sleeping for Larry Brown.
Said he has not gotten a good night's sleep since July. The NCAA issued a notice of allegations. They've reportedly completed the investigation of SMU. The NCAA expecting to meet with the school later this year. So that story continues. Boatwright with a catch and shot the three on target, all net.
Boy, I tell you, he gets it off quickly, gets his feet set, makes his decisions. I tell you, he's so decisive, Ryan Boatwright, with what he wants to do.
Looks like a guy who's won a national championship and made the all-Final Four team. That distinction, and both of those are true for Boatwright. Moreira gives it up, swung up top for Moore, and he'll call out a play. Using the screen by Moreira, who swung back in the lane. Moore catches, fires, and it's too strong. And back to the Huskies, coming in with 14 wins. No question it's been a disappointment to this point. Great spin and a block and a foul on the play. That'll be Hamilton going to the line. Kevin Ollie refuses to concede an NCAA bid has been lost. He said, I'm going to keep coaching, going to keep believing, I'm going to keep being positive, and we'll just get ourselves out of this pit, as he calls it.
It was a great story in the Hartford Courant after their complete handling of Tulsa, who had sat atop the American standings for much of the year. It was their most complete game. And Jeff Jacobs, the columnist, longtime columnist for the Courant, last year when Kevin Ollie bowed out of the American tournament and vowed to go on to win the national title, Jeff Jacobs said, I'll walk 26 miles from the Capitol to Stores if that happened, and he had to deliver.
Good exercise. As Hamilton hits, Ben Moore committed the foul.
Well, apparently Kevin Ollie and his mom were very concerned about Jeff Jacobs' health. They didn't want him to hurt himself on the walk.
Yeah, that's called a forced march. Moore skyward. That one missed away. Here comes Boatwright. He's a one-man fast break and wisely pulls it away. SMU really got back.
Well, terrific defensive transition, and you could see they were building their defense from the inside out.
UConn feels that they can get in transition, and in fact have to, and score some points in fast break fashion tonight if they're going to win this game on the road. Boatwright again with a three. Give him another one.
So what that extra ball handler, allowing Hamilton to handle it. Ryan Boatwright doesn't have to dance around with the ball, come off multiple screens. Somebody else can make a play for him, as Hamilton did there.
That's an 8-0 run for the Huskies in a 7-point lead. Moreira inside, got it to go. He'll go to the line. Foul on the play, and he'll be shooting.
Boy, you get the sense that this young man makes progress with every practice. And watching Larry Brown, watch this guy work in practice, he was so positive, encouraging. How about the ability at that size to take a pass, still use the deck, get it up, and his teammates say, yes, sir, that's good.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
That is Larry Brown's office here at SMU, and of course with Dean Smith, he played for him and coached with him. And this is the shirt he wore in the pregame, that black shirt. And they were also wearing some black warm-up tops. And all of this to honor the passing of the great Dean Smith.
Larry Brown said about Coach Smith, I would not have had the life I've had or the career I've had without Coach Smith. And you know something? I'm not alone in that. How about this? Michael Jordan was quoted over the course of his career as saying, other than my parents, no one has had a greater influence on my life than Dean Smith.
Larry also said he was the most decent man I ever met.
Don't underestimate the power of college coaches to influence young men and their lives.
Hamilton trying to penetrate. Here's Purvis, who just picked up a foul before the break. UConn off to a good shooting start. Boatwright has drained a couple of long threes. Hamilton, he comes in averaging 10 points and 7 rebounds. Shot clock is at 4. Boatwright trying to get out of there, knocked away by the big fella Moreira. Moore back to him, went for the tip, and it slapped out of play, and it'll go the other way. It'll be UConn ball here.
Remember what the guys were saying on game day, that they thought, I believe it was Seth who said, Larry Brown is not going to let Ryan Boatwright beat him. So the hedge that he's getting from Moreira to string Ryan Boatwright out on those pick and rolls, and then they're shrinking the floor.
Well, UConn's won 3 in a row, and over the last 7 games, he's averaging over 23 points a game. So he's been beating a lot of people. Boatwright again, short this time. Went to follow his own miss, hits the deck. SMU on the attack now. Brown has it knocked away. Stolen. Here comes Samuel. Up ahead for Purvis. The line driver won't go. And SMU comes away with a rebound. Mustangs beat Houston on the road on Thursday as Moore hits and connects. He hits a 2-pointer.
If you're going to win on the road, that's a shot you can't allow. This is their best scorer, the guy who takes more shots than anybody in the jerseys in red. Why would you let him walk right up to an uncontested mid-range?
Oh, and by the way, he hits 45% when he steps beyond the 3-point line. That being Nick Moore, wears number 11 in red. Larry Brown about to go to his bench. Cannon Cunningham and Marcus Kennedy, 6'10", 6'9", about to report for duty. Purvis deep in the corner. And a big rebound by SMU's Ben Moore, who stands 6'8". Mustangs don't go very deep. They'll only play about 8, but they have good size.
All of that attrition has hurt their depth.
Brown fires. Got it. He hits a 3. Sterling Brown. And SMU has surged into the lead. As mentioned, they expect to set an attendance record tonight. They'll pack more folks here into Moody than they ever have. Nolan harassed, stolen from behind by Ben Moore. He's very active on the defensive end, but too strong there. Brown with the follow. That was an athletic play and a timeout. UConn. A 10-0 run for the Mustangs. 13-10 over UConn.
This run by SMU started when UConn got casual. Freeze it here. Look at who is facing the ball. Very few guys. You're too casual. Don't be pointing. How about some communication, UConn? Nobody stops the ball. That was the basket that got them started. They come back to back with very quick opportunities. And this is something that Kevin Ollie had talked about before they went on this 3-game win streak. He said, I don't think my guys are playing with enough urgency. Boy, if you're on the road, you better match the intensity that's coming from this building and the guys in red.
They stopped him at practice today when someone made a mistake. He said, whoa, whoa. UConn made that mistake, not your teammate. Know who your teammates are.
I love that line. I absolutely loved it because they're pointing at one another. Who made the mistake? Who cares? Fix it.
And another mistake, and that is 7 consecutive empty possessions for Coach Ollie's team.
And this has been their trouble. I mean, listen, the UConn pride has been there. The intensity, for the most part, has been there. Maybe not to the degree Kevin Ollie. We watched practice. We were blown away. How hard they were working, the intensity. But their offense is a real challenge at times.
Catch in the lane by Kennedy, and he's fouled from behind. Boy, he is a load in there. At 6'9", the big transfer from Villanova missed the first 10 games of the season.
This will be the big test for Connecticut, because they will play through Marcus Kennedy on the post. He can command at least a body and a half inside.
Nolan just committed to foul, trying to stay with him. Easier said than done. Cunningham up top. Manuel. Oh, and that one's going to be a goaltending call. Kenton Facey with a goaltend. And a 5-point SMU lead.
So you got to stop here. Let's see where UConn goes on the offensive end. Larry Brown said yesterday at practice they have 850 plays, and all of them end with Boatwright trying to go to score it.
He was only half kidding. Boatwright 18 points a game. He's already hit 2 threes. Purvis swinging. Calhoun in the game. Little contact there, no whistle. Shot clock down to 8 for the Huskies.
You've been saying that a lot.
Long range Purvis, no. Tipped out high, they'll get a second effort. Calhoun dishes inside, and that one will drop in. That was Nolan underneath. That's a basket that UConn desperately needed there. Is it the way the Mustangs have caught fire? They're very tough in this building. They're 13-2 here in Moody. The long one by Moore won't fall, but a second effort thanks to Cunningham. Moore taking on Purvis. Rodney Purvis, a transfer from NC State, has really been running hot and cold. Cunningham got it.
So that double low post. Ball enters, and those two young men just work off each other.
Boatwright calls a play. The senior out of Aurora, Illinois. It's a 14-2 run for the Mustangs to grab the lead. Calhoun gave up the dribble through the double team. Shot clock at 7. Boy, they've been using up a lot of that clock. They hand off for Boatwright, jumping in the lane. Calhoun, long range, too strong. On the romp, here's Sterling Brown. The lane opens up and he lays it in.
Seen that on a couple of occasions, haven't we? Where transition defense just hasn't been on point for the Connecticut Huskies. Ball goes uncontested up the floor a long way.
Kevin Ollie will get Amita Brima back into the game, and Daniel Hamilton. They are at the scorer's table. Calhoun has it taken away. Couldn't get out of the trap. Moore bounces into the lane. Cunningham draws the foul. He'll be to the line to shoot a pair. 10-13 to go in a quick-moving half. Kenton Facey with the personal foul. SMU starting to get the offense rocking and rolling. Usually that means that Nick Moore is involved. Sterling Brown with an easy lay-in. 19-12, the Mustangs. Well, how about this from game day? SMU freshman Shamik Malvea hit the $18,000 shot with 1 second left on the clock earlier today. Take a look at this. All net, too. You know, in the 10 seasons prior to this, only 4 students have hit the money shot. And after Malvea's winner today, there have been 2 winners in 3 weeks.
I love Jay Williams' reaction. Whenever somebody hits, he starts running around with them. It's fabulous. $18,000 richer today.
Just a freshman. It's a pretty good start here at SMU for that young man. And the time of his life. Oh, and by the way, his Mustangs have a 19-12 lead on the Huskies of UConn.
Well, and doing it pretty much the way we expected, because Larry Brown's teams have outscored people in the paint. It's 12-4 advantage in the paint, but it's not necessarily the way we thought. Their fast break points are 8-zip. A lot of it coming because transition defense has been bad for UConn.
And this guy at 6'10", Cunningham at the line, he can really pick him up and put him down. Lately, he's really elevated his game. He scored 16 at Tulsa a week ago, 14 against Cincinnati. He only averages 6 a game.
Well, what a different program the young man walked into and will walk out of.
18-2 run. UConn made 1 of their last 8 and 4 turnovers during that span. Hamilton trying to get in. Foul line jumper. Rebound batted around, controlled by Manuel. Very aggressively getting away with it. 21-12. Now keep in mind the Huskies are the host school for the American Conference tournament in Hartford, Connecticut. But you wonder, are they going to have to, as Kennedy launches and misses, are they going to have to win that tournament to land an NCAA bid and go back? And a whistle here. And a foul away from the basketball with 9:29 to go in the half. That'll go against Sterling Brown of the Mustangs.
I think the answer to that question is yes. I mean, I really believe they're going to have to win their conference tournament to get there.
And that's true. They have an advantage playing in one of their home buildings in Hartford, certainly in front of a supportive home crowd. But tonight, a huge game for UConn. Trying to win their 15th. They are 14-9 at the moment. Boatwright gave up the dribble.
Well, you can see the entire team is guarding Ryan Boatwright. On every ball screen, there's a hedge. The bigs are long enough, active enough.
Hamilton trying to give him some offense. Hit on the play, and he'll be at the line. So he's trying to make something happen. Trying to get into that lane and get off a decent shot. Fouled by Cunningham. So Hamilton will shoot 2. And drops in the first one. He makes only 57%, so that's a work in progress. Now, you know, UConn's mini win streak of 3 in a row has really coincided with Coach Ollie's move with this prized recruit from small forward to power forward. You talked about it. Now they have 4 ball handlers.
Well, what does it give him? A guy like DeAndre Daniels at that 4 spot, right? A playmaker, somebody who can get to the rim off the dribble. He can handle it.
Ben Moore for Manuel. Here's Cunningham. Wants to get closer. Airborne. Tipped up and in. And a foul as well. But Kennedy came out of nowhere and with a wonderful touch, tipped it in and got hit on the play.
It's Cunningham's ability to make a play off the bounce, which allows the weak side step up. He just puts it up soft off the window. The defensive help steps up. And Brima goes over to block the shot. And look at that. Just perfect positioning. You leave Kennedy, and he makes you pay.
Calhoun with the foul. So Kennedy to shoot, he makes 70%. And a 3-point play. And this is the biggest lead of the night as Nick Moore returns. And Ryan Manuel goes to the bench. 10-point advantage. So already some early trouble for the Huskies here. Under 9 minutes to go in the first half. Samuel, airborne, scoops it, beautifully done.
Well, he's making progress on the offensive end, that young man. He splits 2 defenders, the ability to put it off the window with a defender coming at him. That is nicely done.
Now the sophomore from the Bronx moved into the starting lineup about 4 games ago. And it has paid off so far for Kevin Ollie. And tossed out a play by SMU, so back over to the Huskies it goes.
You know, you see so many college kids try to make the pass from that angle. I don't know why they just don't take a dribble to the baseline, a nice drop pass that leads their big toward the rim. It's a much better angle to make that from.
Meligu threw it away. Look at the turnovers. SMU with a 7-0 lead in points off turnovers. Hamilton's in the corner and travels. So he took steps. He'll argue the point, but Kevin Ollie does not. He just stares at the official. Right now, not overly delighted with the proceedings here in Dallas.
And he is exhorting his guys to exert some defensive pressure.
Nick Moore looking inside. Cunningham up to set the screen. Back out. Meligu fires. Boy, that missed ugly. Rebound picked off by Hamilton. That didn't even touch the iron. 7:35 to play in the half. Samuel will back it out now. Only averaging about 4 points a game. Where they need offense from somebody other than number 11 in the worst way.
think they expected it to come from Rodney Purvis on a little bit more consistent basis. He got out of the gate strong. I think it was an injury that kind of set him back. This might be a holdout front.
Yeah, it's going to be a reach foul on Melogu. That'll be his second.
The Connecticut Huskies need to find some fire. One guy who does not lack for fire, Kevin Ollie. This is as they were coming up the floor. Get up, let's pressure, let's go, guys.
Head to our college basketball studio. Scary moment in Manhattan. Buddy Hield driving to the rim, and Brandon Bolden of Kansas State attempting the block. And the 6'11 sophomore comes down awkwardly, diagnosed with a broken arm. Hope for the best for that young man. It's over on ESPN2 Sooners by a point. Gonzaga, Maryland, both looking for regular season conference titles, both in action right now. Dave Doris in the most complimentary of ways. The mob likes what they see.
They sure do, Zubin. And hey, Big Monday presented by Verizon coming your way. Michael Young leading Pitt's upset hopes against Malcolm Brogdon and number 2 Virginia, who barely won today against Wake Forest. Then the balanced attack of Kansas taking on West Virginia. Pitt against number 2 Virginia at 7. Number 8 Kansas against West Virginia at 9.
Boy, Pittsburgh getting Uncle Mo on their side.
Yeah.
Completely handled North Carolina today. Wow.
This UConn team travels like crazy now that they're out of the Big East. Very, very busy week coming here to Dallas after an early week victory. How about West Virginia? No team in the world, no college basketball team, travels like West Virginia. Jump pass by Hamilton. Purvis is on the line, and they turn it over. That'll be their 7th turnover. But here's a look at the travel for Kevin Ollie's team since the 1st of January. 3 multi-game road trips, 22 days on the road, 12 plane trips, and almost 17,000 miles.
Feels like an NBA schedule, doesn't it? 22 days on the road. Listen, they're not getting home tonight. Neither are you and I.
No,
the weather in New England might keep them away for a couple more days. At some point, do you go straight to Memphis?
At some point, you got to go to class, don't you?
Yeah.
Purvis picks off the rebound, and the Huskies want to run if they can. Samuel's pass batted right back, picked off by Ben Moore. Kennedy, look at the big fella. Oh my goodness, a great dish there to Melogu. Ollie can't believe it, but that's 6'9" and what, 260?
Think about Marcus Kennedy did not play in the first semester, academically ineligible. That was a huge miss. Their non-conference schedule was better. They didn't win a ton of those games. They were right there in them. Of their losses, all but one were single digits. Imagine if they had the talent of Marcus Kennedy to get out of the gates. I mean, look at what this guy can do. Gets out in transition, gets himself to the middle of the floor, able to take several dribbles, put it on the money for his teammate to make it easy. I mean, this is so well done. Touch pass with bodies and arms around him. Nice.
Boatwright trying to get him back in another 3. He's hit 3 of them so far tonight. A rainbow triple, 9 points for Boatwright, so he's keeping them in this thing early.
Boy, he is a quick strike artist and a problem solver. When your offense has gone south, turn to Ryan Boatwright.
42% beyond the 3-point line for the season. A feed to Kennedy. He turns, trying to make a scoop and draws the foul. So Kennedy will be at the line with 5:40 to play in the half.
Watch how quickly Ryan Boatwright scores. It's a 1-5 pick and roll because his defender steps off just enough. He pulls the trigger so quickly, and look at the weight of responsibility this guy bears on the offensive end.
Kennedy makes the first foul by Bryma, who just picked up his second foul. Ryan Boatwright told us at the practice today, he said, I didn't come back to play at UConn for my senior year to play in the NIT. So he is dying to go back to the NCAA tournament, but will that happen? He is trying, as you can see by those numbers, the last 7, to make it come true again.
Well, I think one of the areas that he has made great progress, if you remember early in his career, he used to drive me a little crazy because his body language was poor. His frustration with his teammates was evident. And I think, you know, over the course of his time in UConn, he's really grown up.
Shabazz Napier, I think, had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and Kevin Ollie.
Yeah, no doubt. Samuels, slapped away by Cunningham. Tough to get inside there. The fall away, Hamilton can't connect. Well, it's tough for anybody other than Boatwright to get off a decent shot. Moore. Yes, a three from way downtown. SMU sizzling. 31-19. Boatwright gets his own deflection back. Jumper from the corner, and Purvis quiets the crowd for the moment as he knocks back a triple. So whenever the Mustangs are about to run the Huskies out of the gym, somebody hits a three. It's been Boatwright for the most part, but that time Rodney Purvis to keep them in at 31-22 on the baseline, and a foul as Moore tried to make something happen. He draws the contact.
Well, you heard Jay Williams say he believes Nick Moore is one of the most underrated players in the country. Look at this. I mean, just recognizing that UConn's defense is not on point. Ryan Boatwright and the post are sort of dancing around. Your indecision makes his decision easy.
Nolan committed the foul, and it's shooting time now for Moore, 1-1. For the #1 foul shooter in the American Conference, 87%. His solid play has really held together an SMU team that looks quite a bit different from the one that Larry Brown envisioned early last summer.
Well, Emmanuel Mudiay, who is currently over in China playing professional basketball, at the start of the year, and Larry sort of reiterated a similar thought to Reese and the guys. He said if he had Emmanuel Mudiay, he believed he could contend for a national title.
That's right. He said that several times, rather mournfully. Purvis. Boatwright has to give chase. He'll fire another three, and it's short. UConn one and done there. Here come the Mustangs. Mustangs, by the way, the best shooting team in the conference at 49%, and a top scoring team in the American.
It's always a good sign when you're the leading field goal percentage team and field goal percentage defense team. You know you're playing pretty good.
Yep. Like your chances of winning the conference. Tulsa's been tumbling lately. Larry Brown's team has been going in the opposite direction, and they are tonight.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Zubin Mehenti in our college basketball studios over on ESPN2. Big one in the Big 12, Oklahoma, Kansas State. Justin Edwards is going to pull up from downtown here and give the Wildcats a little bit of breathing room. They're up 5. Once again, it's over on ESPN2. Gonzaga looking to stay perfect in conference play. Texas Tech's looking for their first road win of the year. They're losing in Austin. From Austin to Dallas. Dave, Doris, back to you.
Zubin, thank you. And coming up on the Mazda halftime report, Reese, Jay, and Seth get you caught up on all the college basketball action of the day, including a wild day in the ACC. And Kentucky keeps on rolling.
Well, they entered the day, Kentucky, with a 71% chance of finishing the regular season undefeated. I imagine that's going to go up.
SMU with a 33-22 lead. Folks here just over the moon about the game day guys being here, and they have been all day. Had a wonderful time this morning. Saw a half-court shot made as well. Here's Manuel back into the game, but a misfire. So 3.5 minutes before halftime for the Huskies to find the answer how to counter SMU, and in particular the high percentage the Mustangs are shooting, because all of their shots are right on top of the rim.
You see, they can put Nick Moore near Samuel and size on Ryan Boatwright.
Hamilton has it knocked away and lost it off his fingertips. Back over to the Mustangs. They've turned it over 9 times. So it's been a ragged half in that regard for the Huskies. Now, UConn made sure their season would be an uphill climb when they dropped 3 in a row in November to West Virginia, to Texas, and to Yale. Remember, those last 2 were buzzer beaters, heartbreakers.
Well, we saw the overtime game with Temple.
Moore straight on. No, tipped up and in. Morera right there. 6'11" senior to make it 35-22. This is the biggest lead for the Mustangs, up by 13. Samuel trying to cut in. Can't. Rebound tip controlled by the Huskies, and they'll get a new shot clock here.
If you're SMU, you're content to have Samuel shoot those perimeter shots. You saw Nick Moore, he sort of gave a half-hearted closeout. And not because he was lazy, simply because he doesn't believe Samuel can beat him from there.
Hamilton jumping, and now back out for Purvis. Samuel swings it. Boat right. He's been cooking beyond the three-point line, but he's been all by himself. Purvis draws a foul, and he'll be shooting two. Into heavy traffic. He takes the hit. Hey, Super Tuesday presented by Cree LED Lighting. At 7, the pursuit of perfection continues. Kentucky against Tennessee. Then bitter interstate rivals squaring off. Brandon Dawson leading Michigan State against Zach Irvin and Michigan.
Well, how about Mr. Valentine getting the game winner on Valentine's Day?
Denzel Valentine sticking a three-pointer to win it for Michigan State. It's a huge win for the Spartans coming against the top 25 opponent on Michigan State's home floor. But Kara Lawson had the great line. I was watching her game later on at Louisville, and she said that had to be in the scouting report, right? Don't leave Valentine unguarded today in the last seconds. I love that one. Under 2 before halftime here in Dallas. Over the top, Kennedy with the slam. Beautifully timed by the Mustangs. And now suddenly they are sitting pretty here, moving toward the break. A 14-point lead. They are crushing the Huskies in the paint, outscoring them 20-6 in the lane. Hamilton off the Nolan screen, backs away, wants to go one-on-one. The leaner can't stick it, wins it back. Right back out. Calhoun got it, a three-pointer. They were desperate to hit a shot like that. But three-pointers are really keeping them in this contest.
But SMU is a team that their opponents double them up from three-point attempts.
Foul here as Marrero went to make his move before the shot.
Well, watch what's going to happen. The ball's going to end up here on the elbow, and then there will be a simple back cut. And we've seen this all day. So many of the baskets by SMU have been at the rim. They've been above 50% shooting all half because much of what they've done has been right around their tin.
Marrero will be shooting. Nolan just picked up his third foul. So Kenton Facey will have to come on for Nolan with 1 minute and 1 second before the half. Marrero, a 63% foul shooter. And his development has been a major factor in SMU's success. Big winner against Tulsa. He had 13 points, 13 rebounds. His 4th double-double of the season.
I was watching him work yesterday, and Larry was having him take free throw line jump shots. And he was actually pretty good at it. He only got himself in trouble when he sort of flat-armed it.
A whistle here, and they get Hamilton.
Wow.
So not a whole lot going right for the Huskies of Kevin Ollie after Marrero missed. So Marrero will get another one on the violation in the lane by Hamilton, and he makes it 39-26.
Doesn't look like bad form for a guy with that kind of size. Had good rotation on it. Larry was calling it seams yesterday.
Look at Larry Brown on the sideline. Still so much energy. 74 years old. You'd never be able to tell that. Calhoun bottled up on the baseline and a foul on the play. Stops the clock at 43.2. They'll get Ben Moore for his second.
You can watch Larry Brown at practice for 5 seconds and see the kind of enjoyment he is getting out of being in the gym every single day.
Reese had a great note on game day about an hour or so ago that Larry Brown won 6 in a row. Another foul here in the NCAA tournament the last time he was in it, when he won it all. And right now Kevin Ollie has the longest NCAA tournament win streak at 6 in a row. because he just won the NCAA championship. So right now they're tied for the longest tournament winning streak.
Danny Manning and the Miracles and Kemba Walker and the what?
Exactly. Boatwright at the line.
I think Shabazz Napier and the what? You could really go in each championship year. First Kemba, then Shabazz.
In and out, and a very good foul shooter at 83%. 13-point lead for the Mustangs here in the final seconds of the opening half. Herrera trying to get into the lane. Boatwright came over, and a timeout, SMU. So Larry Brown will take one here with 26.3 to go and 23 on the shot clock.
Well, we've talked an awful lot about SMU getting easy opportunities. Much of that has come in transition. Everybody is running the floor hard. They have been unselfish. Nice little dribble drive right to the rack. And then how about the touch pass by your interior man, Mr. Kennedy? And then this is just a failure to communicate between Purvis and Ryan Boatwright. You allow that guy on multiple occasions. Nick Moore has walked up once into a three and once into a mid-range.
Look at the fast break advantage. That's an area the Huskies thought they might be able to get some points tonight. Been a completely different story. Total reversal there for SMU in that column. They'll have the ball coming out of this timeout. Now the Mustangs trying to pick up their 21st win of the season. Looking like a program that doesn't want to leave any chance going to the NCAA tournament from being examined here in the best way.
UConn drops back into a zone here. First back-to-back 20-win seasons since 1984-85 now under Larry Brown.
Herrera down for Kennedy in the stuff. So they run that play to perfection. Boatwright with a chance to get a shot in the air. And that doesn't touch anything. And that was a rough-looking half for the defending champs. Look at all these scoring advantages. Bench, fast break in the paint, and turnovers for the Mustangs. So this capacity crowd at Moody just delighted with that score at halftime. The Mustangs on top of UConn 41-26. Reese, Jay, and Seth will have the Mazda halftime report. That's following a short commercial break, and then the second half from Moody Coliseum in Dallas, Texas. Welcome back to Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. It's part of the American Conference here on ESPN. And from Dallas and Moody Coliseum on the campus of SMU, Mustangs are running a 41-26 lead over the Huskies. Dave O'Brien and Doris Burke with you. UConn turned it over, Doris, 9 times in the first half, but points in the paint was the biggest part of the story.
Well, some of those turnovers led to easy runouts. The difference in fast break was incredible. Of the 14 field goals SMU had in that first half, 11 came inside the paint. This one in transition, put on the money. How about this interior passing and a tough shot by Cunningham? Had to play through some contact. Yes, the offensive board, and put back as well by Herrera. And how about the pass, the tandem, your big. It's not a ton of spacing, but I thought their post-to-post passing was outstanding.
Larry Brown only played 8 men, but every one of them scored. That 15-point lead that they carry into the second half, their largest lead of the game. So we're set for the second half, and we'll see if the Huskies, who frankly need the game a lot more than the Mustangs do, see if they can cut into this large deficit.
Well, there is zero margin for error, and I think one of the things that's got to be a lot better for UConn in this half has got to be ball pressure. I mean, how many times did we see lob passes, uncontested passes that led to easy opportunities?
SMU with the basketball to start the second 20 minutes. Sterling Brown fires up top for Moore. Ben Moore. Shot clock to 10. Here's Nick Moore. Rebounded by Ben Moore. Slapped out of his hands. Boatwright went for it. Right back to SMU. That's been a theme all night long.
Ben Moore had a Connecticut player in front and behind and still managed to come up with that.
Whistle before that cut attempt by Moore. It's going to be a foul here against SMU. So they'll get Ben Moore for the personal, his third. He's 6'8" sophomore out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Boatwright got off to a nice start. He had 9 points, all on threes in the first half. Seemed like at times if he didn't hit one of those, they didn't score. Reversing field, gave it up. He lost it. Here's Moore trying to take the baseline. And standing on the line, he turns it over. So choppy start to the second half. Now, concerns over an NCAA inquiry aside, the Mustangs certainly appear headed to this year's NCAA tournament. Those chances really helped by last Saturday's victory at conference leader Tulsa. Tulsa tail spinning suddenly. They dropped a couple.
I really feel if you're the American, you're very comfortable with where SMU is at. You're probably comfortable to a certain extent with Cincinnati. But you've got a Temple team positioned well, but you can't, none of those teams can relax.
Misfire, short jumper there by Purvis with the shot clock expiring. Nick Moore gives it up, one dribble down, and a block by Bryma, but a good follow by Ben Moore. He stayed right with the play. So the lead grows a little bit larger for the Mustangs. Boatwright trying to get some energy into this Husky team. Hamilton slashing into the lane, and a foul on the play. He wants the basket too, which was blocked. They're going to call it a block. Well, the journey to the tourney, presented by Sonic, features arguably the best rivalry in college basketball. North Carolina and Duke. Marcus Page and the Tar Heels, who lost today, take on Jahlil Okafor and number 4 Duke Blue Devils in front of the Crazies at Cameron on Wednesday at 9.
A big time win on the road for a Duke team that struggled in the first half, but Jahlil Okafor was nearly impossible to guard in the second half.
Foul number 4 on Ben Moore.
I think if Duke sort of continues to win like that in places like that, and I know this is not a vintage Syracuse team, but then Jahlil Okafor's opportunity to win National Player of the Year just increases.
He was just spectacular in the second half at the Carrier Dome. Still got a huge crowd there, despite the fact that the Orange will not be going to the NCAA tournament. There was another snowstorm there in upstate New York. Well, it is February.
Yeah, you lived that for 4 years.
17:52 to go.
UConn coming with some pressure. They're just going to try to pick up the pace, maybe make SMU make some mistakes. They can.
They have not made many tonight. Nick Moore launches. Tipped by Kennedy. They just can't keep him out of there, and he has such a soft touch around the iron.
You know, that's interesting. We talked about being here earlier in the year, and Kennedy didn't look in terrific shape. Boy, his frame has really leaned out.
He still isn't starting, and he says it doesn't bother him at all. He's a Philadelphia kid, and when they went back to play Temple, Larry Brown's tradition is if it's your home and it's your home city, and a great move by Boatwright, he'll go to the line for a three-point play. Larry Brown usually will start a guy if he's heading home, but he offered that to Kennedy. Kennedy said, no, keep it just as it is. I'll come off the bench.
No, and this opportunity here, he gets an offensive rebound, Kennedy. He said, listen, we're playing well. As you see Boatwright just attack the body of the defender. That's what he's specialized. He plays bigger than his size because he can do that. And Kennedy's point to Coach Brown was, hey, we've won an awful lot of games in a row. We're playing great. Why would we mess with that? You love that attitude.
Moreira committing the foul, but Boatwright with a three-point play to draw UConn. Good in 14. Boatwright with a dozen. Quickly on the other, and go for the slam, but a misfire. That was Ryan Manuel, and now he'll slash through. Handoff. Kennedy draws the foul.
You know, one of the things Frank Haith said the last game when UConn won 70-45, he said they were tougher, but he also said they were faster to the ball. I mean, SMU just seems like they're playing a completely different game. UConn seems a step slow in reacting to the ball off the glass. in every way they seem a step slow.
Brima with his 3rd foul, so Kennedy to the line. He's having a nice night. And Brima's in some trouble here with a lot of time left. Kennedy with a miss. Typically a solid enough foul shooter at 70%. Marcus Kennedy says, Nick Moore leads the guards. I lead the bigs.
And we meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It's worked. They're 20-5. And trying to go to 12-2 in the American. And right now atop the conference. Here's Boatwright. Back for Hamilton. To the lane, the floater for 2.
That's a tough shot. It's a right-handed shooter, hard driving. And who are they going to get? Offensive foul on Nick Moore, and he and Purvis have words.
And look at Boatwright taking Purvis away to make sure that doesn't escalate. Smart move there by the senior. 16:47 remaining, and they'll get Nick Moore for the foul. And that'll be number 1 on Nick.
Been a couple of moments tonight where I thought Ryan Boatwright has delivered some leadership, scoring timely ways. There's a point at which there was a free throw.
Take another look here.
Yeah. So it's going to be on the inbounds. It's going to be Purvis who steps up into him. They say that looks a little like he embellished it. So
yes, we are getting close to Academy Award time. Would have been a nominee, I think. The kick out for Hamilton, straight on. Boy, he got a great look. You can't complain about that. But a nice job by Facey to return it.
And some life in the Huskies. This pressure has helped them. It's picked up their intensity.
They've cut it to 10. Moore goes sprawling across the line. It'll go the other way. It'll be Husky basketball. They have a 7-0 run going.
And there's going to be some discussion and a change in the call. And Larry Brown was ready to jump the officials had it not changed.
Take a look at this one. Initially ruled UConn ball.
Boy, that certainly does look like it might have.
I thought it was
stayed.
off Moore,
Yeah.
On the attack, Brima went for the rejection. Actually got a piece of it. He kept it from falling into the cylinder. Hamilton again airborne. In and out. He wins it back. Second effort for UConn.
I like his rake and take ability, though. He can take it off the window and get it to the tin quickly. And I think Kevin Ollie likes his ability in that regard.
And he has a variety of shots in his offensive game. Talking about Hamilton, who has the ball here, just a freshman. Went to the same high school, famed Crenshaw High in Los Angeles, that produced Kevin Ollie, among others. Shot clock at 10. Boatwright gives it off. Brima slapped away by Kennedy with 5 on a shot clock. Brima's complaining that he got hit on the head, but no one's listening. However, UConn showing some life. Valentine's Day, we're celebrating for the love of the dunk. After the break, Jim Calhoun tells us the best dunker he ever coached or coached against.
The best dunk I ever coached, Rudy Gay, who flew from the skies about 3-4 times a game. Pretty special. And the best dunk I ever coached against was Dominic Wilkins. He flew around the court, dunked on everybody. He could really fly.
Well, the Hall of Famer Jim Calhoun. Bob Curlin is the first man to dunk. 1961 Naismith Hall of Fame inductee. Considered the first dunk in college history. In 1944, the 2-time NCAA champion with Oklahoma A&M. Also won 2 Olympic gold medals. He had a really fine career.
Okay, so who are your favorite dunkers all time?
Purvis just in front of the shot clock, but picked off for a second effort by Facey. Well, I love the Dominic Wilkins call by Jim Calhoun, but for me, I think Clyde Drexler is my #1 all-time favorite.
Clyde the Glide. They were tough and mean.
Loved the style. Entry pass, Brima denied. He misfired. Was partially blocked right around his chest. Brown, a tough catch in transition, blocked by Facey. He got his fingertips on it.
Yeah, you want to score it here. You know, UConn's cut the deficit to 10. You want to put some more doubt in their head. You'd love to score it on the interior. Continue to pound UConn inside.
Hamilton jabbing at the basketball. Brown, shot clock at 9. Down low, Morera at 6'11", spinning into the lane and hit with 4 on the shot clock. So a bit of a bailout there.
UConn has come with a bit bigger lineup. Brima, Hamilton, and Facey on the floor.
So shooting 2 here. Foul on Brima is his 4th. So the 7-footer is in deep trouble with a ton of time remaining. And it's Morera to shoot 2. Now they've changed the foul to Kenton Facey. So it'll stay at 3 for Brima. So UConn catches a break there on the change. And he makes the first. Facey, the 6'9" sophomore from Jamaica, who grew up playing soccer and cricket. Came to the United States just 3 years ago.
Has seen his minutes diminish of late as UConn has gone more to that small lineup.
Morera from Angola. So the lead at 47-35 SMU. We'll see if Boatwright can catch fire for the Huskies. They need him these last 14.5 minutes. They need him desperately. Hamilton.
You can see Purvis trying to take advantage of the lack of size from Nick Moore, but they're going to get an offensive foul.
Indeed they are. 14:23 to go. Boatwright is asking who's the foul on, and it is on Brima, so he does pick up the 4th.
You can try to do too much if you're trying to free a teammate here. Wow, was that the call? That's a tough one. That is tough.
You want to explain to me where the foul was?
Yeah, I mean,
man,
whew.
If that's a foul. Manuel spinning away from Boatwright. Kennedy wants the basketball as Manuel has it near midcourt, and Boatwright with a holding foul. His first.
Kennedy, Marcus Kennedy has such a good feel. You know, he's understanding the offense. He's sometimes calling out the plays. That instance, he knew his ball handler was in trouble, so he reacted immediately and tried to get into the line of vision. This kid really knows how to play.
His fall-away jumper is too strong, but Brown goes high up for the rebound. Right back to work, and 1. Sterling Brown, the sophomore from Maywood, Illinois, for a 3-point play.
The offensive rebound, second chance points opportunities are starting to pile up for SMU.
Philip Nolan with his 4th foul.
Yep, approaching double-digit offensive boards. Nice soft off that 10. And Brown does a really good job. Just, you know, if you're a guard and it's constant movement, just constant movement, you are really difficult to check out from 8 feet if you're constantly on the move.
He makes 78% at the line. The old-fashioned 3-point play. So the lead back up to 15. Foul trouble beginning to become a concern for Kevin Ollie. Nolan and Brima each with 4. Purvis catches, fires, can't bury the 3. A battle for the rebound. A tangle on the deck. Jump ball here with 13:40 remaining. And possession arrow will keep it on this end for UConn. Now they're going to have to untangle the scrum. Tempers have gotten a little bit heated. Boatwright again trying to be a peacemaker, maintaining some order. UConn has possession on the arrow.
That tough little guy, Nick Moore, somehow was the one who walked away with the ball in the midst of that.
Fired into the backcourt. Purvis has to go pick it up. And just did get there in front of Herrera. Facing, handing off for Boatwright. Now Boatwright to set up the play, the senior. Well, you figure if they're going to come back, he's going to have to lead them back.
Look at the team defense, though. Every time he comes off a screen and roll.
Long three. Too strong. Here's Moore, averages 5 assists a game, #1 in the American. Kennedy will swing it. Approaching 13 minutes to go. Kennedy all by himself for 2. He does not miss in there.
You see what I mean about his feel? You know, he's constantly reading the ball handler. He's going to slip into open spots, get into the line of vision of the passer.
7-0 run, a danger zone for the Huskies. SMU starting to settle in.
They're starting to take the shape of a tournament team, aren't they?
Purvis can't drain a 3.
You know what I mean? They've won 10 of their last 11. It's going to be out of bounds to SMU. Your level should be rising. You should be more cohesive. This is Kennedy reacting off the drive. Looks like his teammate's in trouble. Just puts himself right into the line of vision so his teammate can see him.
Cramping up a little bit, it appears. 13 points for Kennedy. Puts himself in the line of vision. It is tough to miss it. You've got to be looking to another gym. Backdoor cut and stuffed by Manuel. The Mustangs on top. 54-35, their biggest lead tonight. Purvis has been cold. He'll drive it, and he'll go to the line. Hit on his way. He'll be shooting 2. And this is an adventure for him. He only makes 50%.
Well, we're celebrating the dunk. We're going to give you a couple for the love of the dunk. Much of it coming from SMU. How about that one above the rim? Once upon a time, they didn't let you dunk in college.
I know it. Talked to Bill Walton about that. Let's take a look at the best of both worlds, brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves.
Well, they're grooving on both ends is SMU, and they are the most balanced team in the league. They lead the league in points per game, in field goal percentage defense, in field goal percentage. And when you're at the rim as much as they have been tonight, your field goal percentage is going to look pretty darn good. Their interior passing has been good. And look at the inside. 16 for 26, only 8 points from the perimeter on 3 of 12 shooting.
And shooting 50% for the game. As Doris just mentioned, so many points in the paint, leading to a high shooting percentage. Here's Purvis at the line. Purvis throughout his career has been a pretty good shooter, and Kevin Ollie, I think, is probably wondering about it as much as anything. Why is he such a poor foul shooter?
Yeah, I mean, think about the way he's built. Even at NC State, he was a terrific driver, plays through contact. With his body, he has got to have been at the free throw line a ton over his career.
Herrera on the low block, leaning in, and a foul on the play before the shot with 11:41 to go. Doris Burke, Dave O'Brien with you, and what a big day it's been for the folks here at SMU. You really feel like they've been presented on a national stage, don't you, with game day coming in, with Reese and the guys doing a terrific job this morning. They packed the place here tonight. This is a record crowd for Moody Coliseum, and have set an attendance record already for a single season. Have done that tonight. And to play this well after being snubbed last year in the NCAA tournament, this is huge for them.
Yeah, you're getting the stars to come out. Tony Romo's been here. George W.'s been here.
And now Doris Burke has been here.
You're starting to build some momentum in terms of your program. I'm telling you, Dave, I sat at practice yesterday, and all I could think to myself was, do these young men know how lucky they are to have Larry Brown coaching them up?
Larry, who tells them, hey, you may want to Google me up. That's his phrase, Google me up. Take a look at a couple of things here. I've coached a lot of pretty good players. Shot clock down to 8, 7, Calhoun with a leaner, slapped out of play. Kennedy says not here.
Oh, and then gives it a little Dikembe Mutombo finger wagging. Easy now, Mr. Marcus Kennedy. You played a terrific ball game. But Dikembe Mutombo has got that little hold the finger in the air and wag it. I think he's got that.
UConn, by the way, has missed their last 8 shots. Little help from Mr. Kennedy. 5 to get one off here. The jumper not there for Boatwright. And swatted out of play. It'll stay right here, UConn ball. 54-35. SMU in complete command right now on their home floor. In front of a very supportive crowd of over 7,000. It's a great size for a college arena.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Very similar feel to me. I love Gamble Pavilion. And I know UConn plays a lot of their games at the Hartford Civic Center, both the men and the women. I like this sort of intimate environment better.
Manuel with his second foul. Stops the clock with 10.5 minutes to go. So it has a cozy feel. You're in a bad seat here.
No.
Everybody's on top of the floor. Lubin handing off for Boatwright. The jumper by Calhoun and a three-pointer. 54-38. SMU winning 31 of their last 34 here at Moody. Last time they lost was against Cincinnati. They did sweep UConn last year. They won both games against the Huskies, who of course went on to win the national championship. 10 minutes remaining. Nick Moore, one of the best guards that you'll find anywhere. One of the top guards certainly in this conference. The jumper all net by Manuel. They get everything running.
You know, it's just a perfect possession, right? When you're leading the game and you want that clock to keep moving, you just run your continuity, keep moving until you find the open shot.
Boatwright has to call a timeout so as not to turn it over in that trap. 9:38 to play. SMU cruising 56-38 over the Huskies. There are t-shirts in India that read, "If cricket is religion, then Sachin is God." The little master is the story of that religion and that man, Sachin Tendulkar, the 5'5" batsman who made his international debut at the age of 16. He's considered the greatest cricket player in history. ESPN films The Little Master Sunday at 8 on ESPN. I have often stolen that nickname myself. Well,
I was just going to say.
Here is Kennedy now, just moments ago, walking off the court, really stumbling off the floor, heading for the locker room. We think he's been cramping up pretty badly.
Yeah.
And we'll get a report on Marcus Kennedy as soon as we can. Here's Purvis stumbling himself into the lane. The long jumper from the corner and up over the top of the backboard. Calhoun's shot out of play. 9:27 left. SMU has not gone to the NCAA tournament since 1993. It's feeling more and more like this is the year they finally return. Back in the 60s, they had a very good program. They were tough. 65, 66, 67. SMU is a Sweet 16 team every year. It's a smaller tournament field, but made it to the Elite 8 in 67. A travel on Manuel.
Well, if you look at the resume, comparatively speaking, last year when they were the highest RPI rank not to go in at 54. This year, because of their upgraded non-conference schedule, that is, you see the difference, 70 versus 135. And listen, you feel very good. Barring a collapse down the stretch, if you're Larry Brown, you feel very good.
Well, they certainly did add to their non-conference schedule. They beefed it up after last year's travel. They added Gonzaga, they added Indiana, they added Arkansas.
Right, and the games they lost at Indiana, 74-68. Okay. Arkansas, 78-72. At Gonzaga was the only game that was double digits in terms of the losses on your schedule. And keep in mind, those were all played without Marcus Kennedy, who was ineligible in that first semester.
And certainly the selection committee will consider that. Amella go into the lane, drops in 2.
When you think of all the adversity that's been thrown at them, it's really, as they continue to pile up wins, it's been extraordinary how this staff has managed this group.
No, they're piling on with this lead. It's up to 20 now, the biggest of the evening. 58-38 SMU. Purvis hasn't been much of a factor. His pass tipped away, stolen. Brown beats everyone to the other end and can't lay it in. Oh, but Herrera slams it in. Yannick Herrera was the man on the spot. Timeout, Kevin Ollie. Herrera with 13 and 8. They're loving it here at Moody. Been the Moody Blues for the Huskies.
It's been a lot of layups, a lot of runouts, a lot of dunks. In celebration of the dunk, you're going to just get a lane line run, rim run. Ball is put on the money, and how about Herrera? Doesn't give up on the play. What does Larry Brown talk about? One of the things Dean Smith used to preach about: play the right way. Complete your possessions. Share the ball.
Well, there's a greeting sign in SMU's locker room which features Dean Smith's mantra: play hard, play together, play smart, and have fun. That's all up there. And then Larry Brown adds underneath that, and it would be nice if we defended and rebounded.
I love that.
How about that? Well, he talks about the late, great Dean Smith as the most decent man he ever met. He said, every day of my life I try and live up to what he was, and I always fall short.
Coach Smith, 879 wins, 2 national titles. He presented Larry Brown into the Springfield Hall of Fame in 2002 when Larry went in.
What a great thrill that had to be for both of them. Toss to Hamilton. Jumper on the way, and that won't find the mark. Off target by Samuel. The fight there, and Facey draws the foul. He'll be at the line. And we'll take a timeout. SMU playing a great game tonight. They've hammered on the Huskies. They lead 60-38 here in Dallas.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
SMU has spent a lot of time above the rim tonight, and right now they're above everybody in the American standings at 11-2, 20-5 overall, pending the outcome of this one.
And you got a Temple team right here that's sitting at 10-3, 19-7 overall. They are on a 7-game win streak. How'd you like this in your back-to-back next couple of games? At SMU, at Tulsa for Fran Dunphy's team.
Tulsa stumbling a couple of times this last week. Off the mark by Facey. He'll get another one.
Your Fran Dunphy, you're happy Will Cummings is healthy. There you see the projected seeds. 11 and 12 seeds for Temple and Tulsa.
1 of 2 for Kenton Facey. Under 8 to play. 60-39.
For our BPI, the Basketball Power Index, that's been pretty accurate as it relates to national championship predictors.
Sure has.
Our research department does an extraordinary job.
Student section loudly chanting SMU as Herrera's turnaround won't fall.
Such a great screen set by Cunningham in that particular instance. Herrera gets that shot because Cunningham freed him up.
Boatwright deep in the corner in front of his own bench. A difficult pass, and too chancy, picked off by the Mustangs.
Boy, where would Larry Brown be had Nick Moore not transferred with his former head coach at Illinois State when he decided to come here, because he has been terrific for 2 years. Nice.
Slammed in by Sterling Brown. 62-39. And with emphasis. Boatwright trying to shred the D. Hamilton with a catch. He'll take it into the lane. Can't hit. Rebound tipped. Once again controlled by the men in red. Over the top. Cunningham with a dribble down. And two more. And they keep on piling on. They're turning out the lights on the Huskies tonight. We talked about UConn with no room left for any error. As far as the NCAA tournament, Boatwright can't hit. On the run. Here's Nick Moore. The pull-up three. I hesitate to call it a rout. It's 22-3. A run of 22-3. It's turning into a rout, however. And a whistle and a foul with 5:40 to go. Foul on Amelagu.
Another walk-up three for Nick Moore. Lots of blue jerseys running to the paint. Nobody gets him. It might be a bit extended celebration for my taste in this kind of situation.
He has 10 points. Boatwright to the line.
I enjoy emotion.
You thought a little too much, though.
It's just slightly long.
Well, Nick Moore playing with a lot of fire.
I love his game, boy. He has done yeoman's work for this program over the last 2 years. Yesterday, he didn't practice. Had played heavy minutes the game before and ended up in those the leg compression suit. Looked like something out of outer space.
And Boatwright makes it 67-41.
It is All-Star Weekend in the NBA, though. You wouldn't see that kind of celebration at All-Star Weekend.
Follow-away jumper by Moore. He won't hit that. Hamilton in transition. Little bump there. He'll go to the line. And Daniel Hamilton will shoot the preseason American Conference Rookie of the Year.
Boy, he's pretty good already, and he doesn't even have it all figured out yet.
He's also the #4 rebounder in the American Conference with 7 a game.
Terrific off the defensive backboards. Just dynamite.
Foul shooting is something he has to work on. 57%. For the rookie from Los Angeles. .516 to play, and he gets the roll. 67-42. So as you're looking at UConn the rest of the way, this will be their 10th loss of the season. They'll go to 14-10, and that pretty much assures the UConn Huskies they're going to have to win the American Conference tournament.
There's no question about it.
They want to go back to the NCAA tournament. Kennedy denied in the lane, but it comes to him. He rushed the shot, though, and he missed it. SMU has just dominated right in there in the lane, and that shot by Hamilton, one of the few we've seen go for the Huskies in the paint.
Boy, and the degree of difficulty with which they've had to score sometimes.
Cunningham left that one behind, and they turn it over. Now look at the Huskies' resume. Joe Lunardi says right now they're out. They will not make the NCAA tournament. Certainly a bad loss at Houston. Yale is another one they should have won. Certainly on paper as Hamilton spins.
They get a score here. I don't think Larry Brown has liked what he's seen on the offensive end. Does he use a timeout? I mean, I know we're going to have a TV one soon.
And a foul here on Kenton Facey. Stops the clock with 4:08 remaining in Dallas. The Mustangs about to improve to 21-5.
Given the score and given the recent passing of Dean Smith, see, in the old days, you could have pulled out the four corners offense, which as a Carolina fan as a kid used to drive me insane. Right? Carolina would put four guys spaced out in all four corners, run clock, try to manage a lead, and I'd be sitting at home going, if they turn it over, I'm going to get so frustrated. And that inevitably would happen.
Yeah. And would somebody please bring in a shot clock?
Yeah, that's right.
Brown at the line.
That is, of course, former North Carolina player George Lynch.
Brown missed the second. Rebound tapped out for Samuel. And he wants to attack. To the left hand, no, and a follow by Brima. 68-46. Moore will now call out a play. Now, one thing you have to be impressed with, too, despite the sizable lead, it's been that way for a big chunk of the night. Cunningham follows his own miss. Nobody's left. Get the idea the fans want to continue to celebrate what has been a marvelous day for their program.
I think, you know, as you build a program, right, you look at certain markers over the course of time. There'll be a foul. We'll talk more on the other side about the importance of this day for SMU as Larry Brown in control here and trying to control his future as a program leader.
We have been celebrating the dunk all day, and SMU apparently got the memo. Marcus Kennedy a couple of times in this one, and he does not miss when he's on top of the iron like that. SMU running away from the defending champs, and they've outdunked them 6-2. They've beaten the Huskies in every category virtually tonight, including that one. Both right at the line.
How about all the guys who were never allowed to dunk in college? David Thompson was up so high he could just drop it through. Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, the reason it was put in was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Lou Alcindor, yeah. Well, it was a shame. If we missed a lot of great dunking talent at that time. 3:22 to go. And Boatwright at the line makes it 68-48, back to 20. Here's Kennedy at midcourt. Pressure from the Huskies.
Just want to stay spaced, run your offense. Don't give anybody enough space to double team you. That's why everybody's wide.
Cunningham up to Kennedy. The bounce into the lane. Cunningham tried the left hand and missed. Round the back, Hamilton, 2:47 left. He spins. The lob and stuffed in by Brima. So one of the bright spots tonight on the topic of dunking, Amita Brima off the alley-oop. Not enough of those to lead at 18. So it's going to be a stinging defeat for UConn. Came a long way to be thrashed here tonight by SMU. Now the question is, can they get home tonight with a raging storm in New England? The lean in and a bank shot by Cunningham.
Do the words "no shot" mean anything to you?
I live in Boston. They resonate with me a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not optimistic about getting back to Providence tomorrow, I could tell you that.
Brima on the feed. Under 2 to go. Can't end soon enough for UConn. Boatwright launches. He hits the three. So it's to 17 now. He has 19 points, but that's of little consolation to Ryan Boatwright tonight. Manuel, and they'll try and return the favor, but can't. He misfired on the follow. Now 2 men are down including Kennedy.
Yeah,
grabbing at his leg. Bryma grabs the rebound. A rejection there by Cunningham. They're going to call that a jump ball, but let's turn our attention to the other end. Kennedy has been battling cramps all night.
Let's hope that's what that is.
He went down hard. We'll take a look at the replay.
He's waving away his teammates and coaches. He's saying, I'm okay. Yeah, he's not moving. He's cramping up. Yeah. No question about it. Yeah.
So a minute 28 to go. Well, you're grateful as a sports fan. Marcus Kennedy is just fighting the cramps at this point. 13 points, 8 rebounds.
Your body just physically gets to a place where it can't do it. There becomes, with this situation, a point of no return. Saw that with LeBron James in the finals a year ago.
Well, Big Mondays presented by Verizon. Michael Young leading Pitt's upset hopes against Malcolm Brogdon and number 2 Virginia. And the balanced attack of Kansas battling the full court press of West Virginia, a premier Big 12 matchup. Now this allows Larry Brown to go to the bench. And he can bring up a walk-on with a minute 28 to go. Student section loves this. In for Cunningham, who attacks and fouled on the play. He'll be going to the line to shoot 2. 1:20 to play here at Moody Coliseum, which has set an attendance record tonight. And they've all stayed, and they've loved every minute of it. In this primetime affair, it'll be Cunningham to shoot. Eight points, 4 rebounds for Cannon Cunningham. .71-53.
Well, you've got 2 programs trying to make some headway. If you're SMU, you've just hired the former offensive coordinator from Clemson, Chad Morris. One of the outstanding offensive minds in the collegiate games. I'm hoping they can get their football program on track.
Hamilton for 2. 71-55. Jonathan Wilfong gives up the basketball. Every time he touches it, he gets a huge ovation from the student section.
And Larry calls a very quick timeout just to get some subs in.
And for the regulars, a fine ovation. Nick Moore, after a job well done tonight. Moutier into the contest. Does not play very many minutes, but these final seconds against the defending national champs. A whistle here to foul on Hamilton. Stops the clock with 44.5 seconds to go. And it'll be Moutier at the line. Sports Center coming your way as soon as we finish up here in Dallas.
If you want to be playing your best basketball, if you're Larry Brown, you've won 11 of your last 12. Your last loss February 5th against Cincinnati, 62-54.
Hamilton launches, can't connect on the 3. So SMU will improve to 21-5 and 12-2 in the American Conference. Another win for Larry Brown, who honored his mentor, former coach, the great Dean Smith before the game, as his players did as well. For UConn, it'll be their 10th loss. They will drop to 14-10 and 7-5 in the American Conference. So that will do it here from Moody. An easy win for SMU, 73-55 over the Huskies. Sports Center is coming up next. SMU with a big day for their program as they continue to surge in the American Conference. An impressive win over the Huskies tonight. Sports Center next. This has been a presentation of ESPN. For Doris Burke and our entire crew, I'm Dave O'Brien saying thanks for watching as we send it to Jay Harris and Kevin Connors.